Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Wan, and my project for this class is called COVID Contact. So first, I'll talk about my features and target audience. I have four main features called COVID-19 information, symptom analysis, contact tracing, and location upload. I'll get into a little more detail about them soon. I have three main audiences for my target audience. The first is for those who are non-infected with COVID-19 and displaying no symptoms. The second are people who are unsure of their status with COVID-19 and may or may not have symptoms. And finally, the last target audience are those who are infected with COVID-19. Now, the COVID-19 information page is for all three of these target audiences as it gives information for all three audiences to use. The symptom analysis page is for people who are unsure to figure out whether they do have COVID-19 based on their symptoms, or for infected to figure out whether they need to escalate and get more medical treatment based on the symptoms that they have. Contact tracing is for non-infected and unsure people to see if they have been in contact with anyone with COVID-19, and location upload is for those with COVID-19 to let others know where they have been while they were positive. Some of the implementations I have is for symptom analysis, which uses JavaScript to look at this form. I have a form asking people about their symptoms, and using JavaScript, I can check to see if all the questions are filled out. And if they're not, I can let them know to please fill in those questions. If they did fill in all those questions, then the JavaScript function takes all their answers, and based on their answers, it outputs their test results along with what they should do. Now, for contact tracing and location upload, it gets a little bit more complicated. While I do use JavaScript for the same functions and can let people know if they didn't fill in a field such as their first name or their last name, I also have to submit data to the database, which I use Ajax to do so asynchronously, which hits the API and then either overwrites the database or gets information from the database. This information is then returned back to the JavaScript function, and based on what is returned, I can output results for both contact tracing and location upload. Some features I have on my website is an organized COVID informational page that has graphics, a symptom analysis survey that has answer checking with JavaScript, and recommended actions custom based on the answers that are provided in the form. I also have a contact tracing and location upload that has field checking, ability to add new locations not currently stored in the database, a multi-add option for multiple locations and dates, a date picker for streamlined picking of the date that you visited a place, and a database search for contacted individuals. So now I'm going to go over a small demo of my website. So here is the homepage for COVID Contact. It gives a little bit of information about each of the features, and it also allows you to travel to each of these features, and there's also a nav bar up here. So the COVID-19 information page has information on the symptoms, how to protect yourself from COVID-19, and what to do when sick. And it has some graphics along with all this information. And since there's a lot of stuff and you might only want certain things, you can also navigate just to certain sections. The symptom analysis page is a survey where you enter information here, and based on your symptoms and what you reply with. For example, if we notice here, I'm going to be saying yes to several severe symptoms. It will tell you your output. And for example, if you try to submit without filling in the questions, it'll ask you to fill in all the questions for the section. You also have the ability to go back to the previous questions with all your answers already saved. But if I were to fill this out, and then keep in mind, I did answer yes to a couple of severe symptoms, and based on my answers, it says urgent medical attention may be required, and it advises me on my next courses of action. Now for contact tracing, here you can put in your name. For example, I'll put in my name here, and you put in locations that you have visited. For example, I could have visited the Armory or Buckley Green, and the date you visited with the aforementioned date picker. Now, if I were to put in a date and not the location, or vice versa, and I try to submit, it would let me know to please finish filling out that specific one. If, for example, 3 locations is not enough here, I can add another one here. So I can add as many locations and dates as I want at one sitting. And if I wanted to, for example, if I see here, for example, let's say I went to the Drexel gym and it's not here, I can add a location to the list, the Drexel gym. And now I can see that I can visit the location that is Drexel gym. And if I submit here, I don't have anything because I didn't visit anyone with COVID-19. But for example, if I were to have visited the Buckley Green on the 19th, it would tell me that I met John Kim and John Cena at Buckley Green on that day who both were positive. And this is meant for people who are positive. So for example, if John Cena had COVID-19 and he visited Savas on the 20th, he can upload his visited locations, and this information is now in our database. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy my presentation.